Okay, let's ask Martin. First, the issue of Securities and Exchange Commission. What's your thought on the fact that an organization of that nature, that is critical to the growth and development of our economy, especially as far as the capital market is concerned, is not being allowed to have a budget? Though I understand that the commission has used its own fund to run itself for the next 6 months. What's your thoughts about that?
Okay, Kari, thank you for that question. I like to take exception to what he said, because I personally have interacted with Aroma Ote. This woman is a brilliant woman. She's a graduate of the Harvard Business School, made a first class from computer science from Nsukka. Okay, worked in Harvard and then joined ADB and rose to the position of vice president. You know, there was a Chinese national that came to Nigeria recently advising about how to restructure our capital market. And this Chinese national was even a subordinate to Aroma Ote. This thing didn't start with Aroma Ote, okay? So people who do not really, who are, you know, getting their own perception of her from what you read in the press, you know, it just saddens me. Recently, I interviewed another lady, Ifweko Omogu, who ran FRS. She grew FRS revenue from 1 trillion to over 4 trillion naira. And what she told me was that when she was coming into FRS, people would carry placards. We don't want this woman. She's not a tax person. Blah, 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 you know. But, I mean, she's my alma mater. She's my alumni. We're both in Accenture together. And we had a reception for her. And you needed to hear what FRS staff were saying about this woman. You know, it didn't start with Aroma Ote. Remember El Rufai, when he was being confirmed to be minister?
Before you mentioned El Rufai, I was going to say, did it have anything to do with their sexuality? Was it a gender thing? They don't want women to head anything in Nigeria? Or what
we'll come to that. But, Kai, they don't also forget that there was a time we had a power minister recently, who everybody, I mean, I really don't know the details of how he had to leave the administration, but after he left, you know, you listen to some people and say, oh, you know, as soon as when this man came on board, you know, we're seeing, you know, some kind of improvement in power. Yeah. But beyond that, sometimes it's good to look at people's pedigree, their track record. Now, why was the Udogie as a minister? Why did he command that kind of respect and reputation? Because of what he had done in the past. All these agencies, GE, there's a company called GE in America, GE Power Capital. All these people he was dealing with, they knew his background. And so his appointment was, you know, gave confidence to power reform and all that, okay? But for whatever happened, I don't know what happened, but he, you know, he's leaving almost like, you know, had to shake the confidence of these are our partners. When you talk about the SEC, it's not just a Nigerian institution. That's an organization that can mobilize capital into an economy. And so when they are looking at an organization like that, people abroad, you know, all these investors, international investors, I say, who is this person there? Does this person understand the way the system works? What has she done in the past?
So how do we...
So I just think look, let me just give you another final example. There's a lady called, if you read No Higher Honor by Condoleezza Rice, she mentions the fact that when 9/11 struck, she was the national security advisor to the president. And the whole of the National Assembly were saying, this woman must account. She has to go. George Bush stood by her. And then she even appeared before the Senate to defend her record. And what happened? She was even promoted to become Secretary of State. Aroma Ote can lead. You know, we need to be able. Now, if you're talking about MENA and corruption issues and all that, I can understand that. But somebody trying to defend her integrity before the House, no. I mean, please, let's give that woman the benefit of the doubt.
Okay. You wanted to say something, but very quickly,
right.
Let me just look at this issue of SEC not having a budget. They have had to come up with their own fund for the next 6 months. How is this going to affect our capital market?
It's illegal. It's illegal.
It is illegal.
It's illegal.
Okay. So how are we going to use this illegality?
Where do they get funds from anyway?
Let me tell you. That's what is called internally generated revenue. And that's under section 22. You must remit. In fact, the fiscal, that is, we call it Fiscal Responsibility Act of 2007, made it compulsory for your budget, annual budget, to be approved by a National Assembly. If not, it becomes illegal. The only institution that is exempted, but we are bringing it on board, is the CBN. But it's even illegal. So she cannot. She cannot. She has no right to. That is where the problem lies. Let me say something here, my brothers and sisters. You see, let's not be emotional about. The problem with us is that we're emotional with issues. Or we attack people, or we support people because we have emotions. Let's forget who are involved and look at facts. I will tell you, Aruma has a problem. I'm not saying she might be watching. She has a problem. Her problem is you might be the smartest person in this world, but you have to know how to rule people around you, how to negotiate your ways. In 1933, when Roosevelt came in, American economy was messed up. Roosevelt saw a very, very uncompromising Congress. He has to go begging because you have to know how to navigate. These are elected people. Bear in mind that these so-called, we are claiming to be so-called. There are 360 elected people. If you are so smart, go and win an election. Do you understand? These people are defending not their interest, but the interest of the people that elected them. You see, when we are talking about a constituency project, it is not illegal.
I would say they are supposed.
Let me tell you, it's not illegal. It's in the United States. I have lived in the United States for 15 years. I've worked for so many institutions in the United States. It's legal. In 2001. Edward Kennedy, brought in $15 billion worth of project to Boston to revive the Boston infrastructure, transportation infrastructure.
Sorry, can I stop you there for 1 second?
Yeah.
A senior advocate and a number of other lawyers that are featured on channels television said there is nowhere in the Constitution of Nigeria that permits the National Assembly to put into the budget any kind of project that is called constituency project. It is illegal.
Yeah, no, wait. So look, this is the field.
illegal.
This is the field I understand very well. It's not a legal problem. It's not a legal issue. It's not a legal issue because the Constitution does not say it. Does not mean the Constitution bans it. Let's be realistic here. This is the field I know very well.
It doesn't say
that it's against it. The fact the Constitution does not highlight it does not mean the Constitution says it's illegal. Who is saying that? The person doesn't know what he's talking about. I'm sorry if I said it. What I want to say, let me tell you, it doesn't matter, anybody can be anything. Let me tell you what I want to say. In my article last week, I wanted that in the new Constitution to make it legal, to say that maximum of 5% of our capital capital expenditure can be made available to constituency. Because let's be factual here. At the end of after 4 years, you go. David Mark is the president of Senate. When he returns to his for another re-election, they will ask him, no road, no water. What will he tell them? He will tell them that the federal government did not do that. You see, we must bear in mind that the budget you are talking about is the prerogative of the National Assembly. They decide how to mutilate it. Those so-called mutilation. It is their power to decide which amount will be spent this year and where to be allocated. That is how the budget.
Let me jump in here. That's not true.
It's true.
Let me give you a real life example, right? If you listen to the American presidential election, if you listen to the vice presidential debate, we need to educate, enlighten people. If you listen to the vice presidential debate between Joe Biden and Paul Ryan, there was a point in that debate. If I was in government, there's something you make available to people. Let them see it. If you listen to that debate, there was a time Joe Biden was accusing Paul Ryan that when we were implementing the stimulus, Paul Ryan, you called me and said you needed 2 whatever for your constituency. Now, what you call the budget is a law. It's an appropriation bill. It's an executive bill. Okay, so the executive prepares the budget, and then they send it to the National Assembly. The National Assembly is a lawmaker. For it to become law, they will approve that budget. Okay, that's when it becomes law. However, when you send it to them, they do not add or subtract because they have oversight. So what happens is that if as Senate President, if as Senate President you want something to be included, while the budget is being prepared, you call the minister, you call your you say, please, I want this to be there. I want this to be there. That's not when they bring the bill.
No. We have a caller on the line.
I disagree.
We have a caller on the line. Hello, good morning.
Hello.
Good morning.
Good morning. Hello, good morning.
Yes, Ayo, please go ahead.
Okay, yeah. I think the gentleman from U.S., I don't know what his name is. I think I agree with what his explanation is regarding the budget. You cannot have a Congress, a National Assembly, elected by people, and then say that they have no influence on budget planning or what goes into our budget. The only thing they have is oversight. It's not possible. That is not how democracy is being run. The only reason why Nigeria is feeling this way is because our National Assembly has refused to do their work for several years. This is how a democracy should run. National Assembly should get involved. They are more closer to the people than the executive. They should get involved in the budget process. They should get involved in what goes into the budget. And they should get involved in how the budget is being implemented. That is the only way Nigerians can benefit from this democracy. Not under the executive. Executive will package a budget. They cannot even implement up to 30-40%. They don't even give abandoned projects everywhere. This is the only way we can get anywhere in this country. National Assembly needs to start doing their job. What Nigeria has voted for. The gentleman that is supporting Aruna Ate, I'm sorry for you. When somebody is elected as a leader to lead a group, that person must be able to lead all the resources that he has for it. Aruna Ate could have been very smart and everything, but he lacked leadership. She lacked leadership. Leadership means you must be able to manage all your resources, no matter how challenging they are. She has failed in that aspect. She might be smart. I agree with that. But smartness is not all what is needed to be a leader. A leader might not be smart, but a leader must. Former U.S. President Ronald Reagan is not the best person. He's not the most smartest American, but he has leadership quantity, and he leads the country very challenging time. Aruna Ate, I'm sorry, she needs to step aside for somebody else to run Security and Exchange Commission that has the leadership. Every staff in Security and Exchange Commission, also this is black and white, didn't like this woman. Why?